Hi everyone, Gemma here. Thanks for watching today. So this is project number 3 in my 14 Days of Love series, where I share 7 projects over 14 days, and this is a mixture of cards and 3D projects. In today's video we're going to be making a chocolate presentation box. So no specialty dies are required to make this project. However, I used my Cricut machine to cut the aperture that I required and the heart frame. But this doesn't have to be Valentine's focused. You could use a circle cutter, you could use squares. You don't have to use a Cricut machine. You can use your die cutting machine or a trimmer or anything really that you have in your stash. So I'll go through the measurements with you now. So if you do have a Cricut machine, I'm going to share the link to the file in the description box below, so you can recreate this project. I have cut some pieces by hand, but you'll see in the file. So if you're not using a Cricut machine, then you want a piece of just under 4 1/4 squared, and you're going to score at 1 inch on all 4 sides. So just 1, rotate, 1 and 1. So this is going to form our lid. So I've got the heart aperture here and the finger pulls already cut into place. And then for the base you need a piece of 8 1/8 squared, and again you're going to score at 1 inch on all 4 sides. So I have 4 bars of Cadbury's Dairy Milk, and it's the 45-gram bar. And to wrap them, I've got 4 pieces of pattern paper, 2 in this pattern and 2 in a different pattern, and I've cut them to 4 by 6. I've also got a piece of patterned paper for the front of the box, and I've cut it to 5 3/4 squared, and I've already cut the aperture in the front there. I also have the same pattern paper cut to 5 3/4 squared, and this will sit inside the presentation box. I've cut a piece of acetate to 5 by 5, should be fine. So using my Cricut, I've also cut the frame, but obviously you can create this using what shape you decide to use. Could be square, circle, so on. Or you don't have to have the frame if you're using a trimmer, for example. So I'm going to start with the base of the presentation box. So I'm going to fold it and burnish on all the score lines. Then we're going to do a little bit of cutting. If you've made a similar box before, very straightforward. I'm starting from the right hand side and cutting up on this first score line. Removing a wedge from this tab. I'm doing exactly the same on the opposite side. I'm then going to rotate and do exactly the same on this side. So I'm just going to add some quick grab glue to the tab here. Bring it round and line it up to this corner edge here, so we've got a nice straight corner. And I'm just going to work my way along and do the same then with the remaining tabs. Next I'm going to add my pattern piece of paper into the bottom of the box, and I'm going to use some collage glue So that's nice and strong. Just making sure there's an equal border on the inside. So I'm happy with that, so I'm just going to set that to one side now and let that dry. And I'm going to work on the lid. So we're going to create the lid in the same way. I'll go through that with you in a moment. But while I have a flat surface, I'm just going to attach my pattern paper and line it up with the aperture on the front here. And I'm also going to attach the frame. Then if you line the heart up on the pattern paper with the heart on the lid, you will automatically get then the correct spacing around the outside. I'm just going to line that up in the same way, pop that down, and then lastly, before I do any cutting on the lid, I'm just going to add my acetate on the inside. So you could of course cut this as well with your Cricut machine if you have one, and you could do it in the heart shape. But I've just cut a square piece out of these. So I'm just going to do my usual trick, remove a little bit at a time. Get it in place and then remove the rest of the backing paper. So when I lay this down, I want to make sure that I don't have any of the tape exposed in the aperture. So that looks good to me. Just going to burnish that down now with my bone folder. So now that everything is attached, I've folded and burnished the score lines. Then we're going to assemble in the same way as we did with the lid, the base, sorry. We're just going to cut up that first score line, then take a wedge from the tab. Do the same on the opposite side. Rotate and do exactly the same. So I'm just going to add some quick grab glue these two tabs here. So I'm also going to add some glue to the remaining tabs here, but I'm just going to check that everything fits. You don't want your lid too snug, so I'm just going to bring it around like so, and using the base then to help me square up that bottom. There we go, so we've got the start of our box there. I'm just going to set both of them to one side and we're going to work on the chocolate wraps next. So I've already gone ahead and prepared 3 of the wraps. So this was my first attempt. I've got a little bit of creasing in there which I'm not too happy about, but it's handmade, and I'll pop it in the corner and hopefully it'll be hidden by the aperture. I'm sure the person that receives this won't mind too much. So I have my piece of 6x4 and I've added double-sided tape along 3 of the edges. You can use liquid glue if you want. I just think you've got an instant stick with this. So I'm going to take the backing tape off the longer edge and then a little bit off these sides. I'm going to take my chocolate bar and I want to tuck in these edges here and sort of place it in the center. And then going to wrap my pattern paper around the chocolate like so. So then that edge is sealed off. And before I remove any of this backing paper, I'm just going to pinch the sides so it sort of already takes its shape before I pressed on that glue. Down that tape, I should say. So hopefully you shouldn't have any creasing then. So I'm just going to remove that and press that in place. Also going to remove the backing paper from this end, and again just do the same thing, just press it down into place and you're left with something like this. So I'm going to place my 4 bars of chocolate inside the box there, and they all fit quite nicely inside. Add my lid. So I've got a piece of blue ribbon. I'm going to fold it in half and start on one corner. So I'm going to fold it over like so, bring it up and around to the other corner. Like so. And then I'm going to tie a bow off. Then just to help the placement, I'm going to turn on my glue gun now, and I'm just going to pop a little blob under there, and then that will hold that in place. I've also cut a heart tag, and I've used the Made to Surprise chunky alphabet dies, and I've cut an A with some fun foam and the same pattern paper that's inside on the chocolate wraps. So I'm just going to pop that on there. From my stash, I'm going to take one of these love hearts. These have a special meaning to me as I used them when I first started crafting, and the first thing that I made was my wedding invitations, so I had a few left over. So I'm going to add one onto here. So I've just tied some twine to the love heart tag and added this. I'm still waiting on my glue gun a second. So while I wait, I'm just going to use my Nuvo Aqua Shimmer pen, and I'm just going to add some to the love heart. So I'm really pleased with how this turned out. As I said at the start of the video, it doesn't have to be for Valentine's Day. Obviously you can change the shape and use it as a birthday gift, Mother's Day, Christmas. Just change up your papers and the different coloured cardstock and your shape of your aperture. You don't even have to do the aperture if you don't want to. So there's lots of variety there for this style of presentation box. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, give me a thumbs up, maybe comment on the video, or consider subscribing to the channel. If you do, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any future tutorials. As I said at the start, I'll link the Cricut file in the description box below. If you do make any of these projects from the 14 Days of Love series, please share them on our Facebook group. gems. I'll also link that in the description box below. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.